At the end of the war in Vietnam, the socialist revolution in neighbouring Laos overthrew the monarchy and cut off all contact with the outside world. Now, this tiny country, renamed the Lao People's Democratic Republic, is opening its doors for the first time since 1975. What the future has in store for the Lao people, no one knows. But much of their past is equally mysterious. Centuries of war and plunder have ravaged the Lao heritage. Working together, Lao and Australian archaeologists are just beginning to recover fragments of the country's history. Their search will soon take them to a remote village in the north of Laos. In 1976, building workers accidentally unearthed the remains of several ancient pottery kilns here in Vientiane, the capital of Laos. It was a discovery with the potential to fill in important gaps in Lao history. Don Hine, an Australian archaeologist, and Nguyen Cao Suksawati from the Lao Department of Archaeology and Museums have found evidence of other pottery kilns in the interior of Laos, in an isolated village called Ban Giang Hai.
Just because we already know this one, if we have to know this one first, it might be better. You think, ask?
Don and Nguyen Cao will lead a team to excavate the site, but monsoonal rains have made travel by road impossible. To get there now, the expedition must make a long journey by boat. Finding the right boat at the right price takes time, and Don is impatient to get going.
Have a look. Maybe we have an idea then if it's satisfactory. So it's okay to go down? 150 of these and what? 250 of these?
With his wife Tony, Don checks the list of supplies. The team will be roughing it on site for 3 months and must take everything they can with them. The kilns found in Vientiane in the 1970s showed that the Lao had a flourishing ceramics industry 500 years ago. Nguyen Cao has a sense of urgency about the forthcoming expedition.
The archaeology for the future of our country now is very important because our country is in the period of development objects that will be destroyed by the construction work, and also very important for the development of the tourism in the country, and also to begin the work for the new generations. Are you ready?
Yes.
Loaded with 2.5 tons of equipment and supplies, 12 people and all the necessary permits, the expedition is on its way.
Don't sink.
Following a centuries-old trade route, the team will travel 350 kilometres up the Mekong, past the old royal capital of Luang Prabang to the village of Ban Giang Hai.
The boat can only travel with good visibility. It can't travel at night time, it can't travel in the rain, it can't travel in fog. So it can only travel in daylight hours with good visibility. And the reason is already obvious to you. If you see two rocks now, when the water falls another metre, you'll see a dozen in between. We're running over them all of the time, clearing them, because the crew know very well where they are. Quite a road map under the water.
The Mekong is too dangerous to navigate after dark. Every evening, the boat must pull into a riverside village to spend the night.
This is a checkpoint in this village, isn't it?
Yeah.
So all the boats stop here to check,
Yeah.
then they go on.
Yeah.
So if the boat was going to Luang Prabang, like our boat, how many checks will there be? How many more?
Two more.
Two more.
Port stop. When
Port stop.
we have to stop.
Okay.
Going to the boat, we have to stop because dark.
Right.
But many in the checkpoint we no need to stop according to the daytime.
So the boat trip from Luang, Vientiane to Luang Prabang is about 3 nights. Stop.
Yeah,
Stop for 3 nights.
Today we've been travelling along here, so I've come to this point where we're going to soon turn north. So at this point we're leaving the border between Laos, PDR and Thailand. At this point here, yeah. So is this a customs point here?
Yeah.
In the village of Pak Leh, there's a hitch. Someone in customs hasn't been told about the expedition.
Wait for some time, huh? Wait for some time. Okay. You never not allowed to take in the office work. He said, ask me to, and you go to the high authority in the office. They said.
But do we have the permission already?
He said, yes, go forward.
Can we have the name of the officer? Can I know the name of the officer?
There's some delicate negotiations between Don and the customs men before the team is allowed to leave. Each moment costs precious time. Delayed by customs and with a storm on the way, the boat heads for the next port as quickly as it can.
Well, we've arrived here at Luang Prabang on our 4th day of travel. Just in time, it's dark, well, nearly so. And we have to check with some officials here about going on in the morning. I hope there's no hiccup about all of that.
After 4 days on the river, the old capital of Luang Prabang is the last stop for Don and the team before they reach their destination. For centuries, Laos was at the mercy of powerful neighbours, China, Thailand, Burma, Cambodia and Vietnam. But the Lao remember a brief period of glory in the 14th century, when a young king united the warring nobles of Laos and created Lan Xang, the kingdom of 1,000,000 elephants. The king built his capital at Luang Prabang and the city became an important trade centre. Lao culture thrived in the Lan Xang period, when unique styles of architecture, sculpture, music and poetry were developed. Archaeologists and historians believe that the area around Luang Prabang is rich with remnants of the Old Kingdom. Luang Prabang's architecture bears traces of every phase of the city's long history, from ancient Buddhist monasteries to colonial mansions built by the French. The little village of Ban Giang Hai is now only another 2 hours' journey to the north.
Just coming into it now. Ban Giang Hai. Kilns over here. All along here. All along here.
5 days, is it? 5 nights?
Chết. Ha. Hết 100.
อีกใบหนึ่ง
Ơi.
ขอบคุณ
Dạ, dạ, dạ.
Ban Giang Hai's population is only 500, and the arrival of the team will stretch the village's resources to the limit.
Arriving on the ground means that you've done a great deal of work already. The team's come together, you've got yourself sorted out, your equipment, preparations and so on have been done, and usually you arrive on the ground with most of those problems solved, or you're carrying some that you're going to maintain through the work. Just how to survive day to day, where the food's going to come from. We don't have any stores around here to go and buy things, so each acquisition of daily needs is a trip for somebody to the nearest town by boat to just to function. Without actually doing any research at all, just living on the site can be a major problem in itself.
Ah. Oh, yes. Yes, another one here. The chimney here. Yeah. The chimney here. And another one, another kiln here.
Though the name Ban Giang Hai means village of the jar makers, ceramics are no longer manufactured here. Fragments of pottery have long been found in the village, but local history does not record how, when or by whom they were made. These are questions the villagers hope the archaeologists will eventually answer.
Another kiln somewhere here.
คือเขาดูดยานี่โอ้ก็บ่ไอ้บ่จามหยังนี่เป็นชั้น แต่ว่าเฒ่าแก่นั้นพ่อแม่เฮาได้เว้าฟังพ่อแม่เฮานี่เพิ่นก็ว่าบ่ฮู้อันผู้ใดมาสร้างก่อนมาอยู่นี่ก่อนนั้นบ่ฮู้มีแต่ว่าเพิ่นนั้นเกิดมาแล้วพ่อแม่นั้นผ่าถือพี่นั้นเป็นจังซั่นว่าจังซะแล้วเรื่องว่าเตาฮอกเตาให้อันนี้เฟืองให้อันนี้แม่นเพิ่นสร้างเฮาก็บ่ฮู้บ่ฮู้แต่ว่าเกิดผู้ใดเกิดมาหักเห็นเอานั้นว่าจังซะฮู้ว่าบนหันมีเตาให้บนนี้มีเตาให้แล้วก็เฮาก็ธรรมดานี่
Soon after arriving, Wian Gao visits district leaders in Ban Somsanut to inform them of the team's plan. Although they have permission to dig from the central government in Vientiane, protocol demands that the archaeologists get local approval as well. There's an anxious moment for the team while district leaders think it over. Finally, they decide, yes, the dig can proceed.
We have already located 2 more kiln sites near Luang Prabang, historical kiln sites, no longer worked and with no living memory of them. Nobody knows anything about them. But 2 separate sites near Luang Prabang, and indeed there is a current production village across the river from Luang Prabang at Ban Giang, operating kilns almost identical to these, dug into the ground in the same way, the same shape, the same temperature ranges, and indeed not dissimilar pottery, or I should say ceramics. The jars of Ban Chan are quite similar to those here. So I think we've got a grandfather site here matching with a current production site at Ban Chan, not very far away. Trying to discover the origins of high-temperature ceramic production in Southeast Asia. Ban Shanghai represents a historic site of some importance. An industry that occurred, that operated 500 or 600 years ago, which contributed positively to the market of the day. We know trade came in and went out. This site served the city of Luang Prabang, and Luang Prabang and this site here, Ban Shanghai, both on the Mekong River, which is the highway of yesterday. And it would have been a part of the body of business that was occurring in the day.
Son is our expert digger. He will teach other people. And we all have to learn how to do it. So for the next day or two, we'll go slowly to learn. We will try to teach everybody. If we get a little bit angry sometimes, please forgive us, because we must do good work.
I think he's watching him work in the field. He's a great site leader. He takes people who have got no idea of archaeological method, none whatsoever, and typically just the local villages. And within a week, as we've seen at Shanghai, he's got them excavating, clean and very well.
A little bit, and they take the soil out. The reason they keep taking the soil out is so they can see what they're doing. Never dig through the soil.
แอนเดี๋ยวถอยลงอีกหน่อยนึง
Both Timmersang and Surapi have worked with us before at Sisatanak near Vientiane. And they're very good. They work with Tony, basically. They're very keen to extend their knowledge, and they're quiet and diligent and pleasant people. So they altogether makes up a very useful team indeed. Mr. Vong Mani is an older member of the team, joining us for the first year. And he has a very interesting history. He spent, I think, something like 12 or 15 years in India studying Buddhism. And he's been able to inform us a great deal about cultural expectations and mores and procedures, and he's been quite valuable from that point of view.
Don is very strict on an excavation, and I had to learn this and accept it, which I did, of course, because he's very serious about his work, and he doesn't allow anything to interfere with the end product. It has to be strict. He has to be very dedicated in what he does. Otherwise, you just can't get the results.
We'd better tell everybody, I think certainly by tomorrow, that if they cannot attend, don't send anybody else, because we can't train somebody in one day. And if they make mistakes, then that's a big problem for us.
Generally, the village profits. It means employment for some people and quite a lot of information and knowledge and skills for them. They spend a lot of time learning how to do certain jobs, which may be useful to them in the future.
เพราะว่าโครงการขุดค้นมาตกอยู่ในบ้านเฮานี่ก็มีจุดดีหลายเกี่ยวกับแก่เวียงงานชาวนุ่มของพวกเฮา แน่บ่แน่ก็แน่นอนแล้วชาวนุ่มของพวกเฮาก็ต้อง
The
For centuries, life in Ban Zhang Hai has been divided into wet and dry seasons. Rice is planted with the coming of the monsoons in May, and while it grows, the pace of life is slow. The dry season is harvest time, the months in which villagers work hardest. If the planting ceremonies have succeeded, the harvest will be a good one, and the community is secure. After the harvest, there's plenty more to do. There are fruit and vegetable gardens to tend and tools to be mended. It's also time to repair houses damaged by the monsoon and to build new homes for the prosperous and the newlywed. As the Mekong calms and the water recedes, fishing is possible again. Water traffic increases as fishermen and villagers buy and sell their produce in marketplaces up and down the river. Ban Zhang Hai is known for production of a potent rice liquor called Lao Lao. The village relies on the sale of this cheap but lethal drink to supplement its income from the rice harvest.
เฮ็ดผลิตออกมาแต่ละบ้านนี่ครับมาเลือกกินแล้วมันได้เอามาเฮ็ดเราในนั้นแล้วมันการเฮ็ดนั้นแล้วมันได้เอาไปมาแล้วมานึ่งแล้วมันเอามาใส่ให้ดองไว้ประมาณ 4-5 วันแล้วมันมาต้มหลังจากต้มแล้วก็มันมีพ่อค้ามาแต่ละบ่อนมาแวะเอาหลังจากว่าเลือแล้วมันพวกเฮาแล้วมัน
Using the same trade routes followed by the jar makers 500 years ago, the villagers have established a sales network throughout nearby settlements and in the provincial capital of Luang Prabang. Lao Lao must be fermented in ceramic jars. Ironically, the village once known as that of the jar makers must now buy its jars from Thailand or from the modern-day ceramic industry in Ban Chang. Potting techniques once used by the jar makers of Ban Zhang Hai and the reasons for their disappearance remain a mystery which the archaeologists hope to unravel.
So what we're doing is building up an amount of data, an amount of evidence that will make more sense later on. We won't get many answers. Our work will basically produce facts, evidence, controlled, recorded evidence that people can rely on, hopefully rely on, and as more discoveries are made, then the answers will begin to fit together. But it's like a detective story.
During the past week, we've spent a lot of time training the people how to excavate, how to dig, how to watch, and the question of keeping everything in its proper order. So we are very conscious that we should try to contribute as much as possible to the village as compensation for the trouble we bring.
After the isolation of the past 17 years, the Lao are intensely curious about the modern world. Everything the visitors have brought with them is examined carefully, from Sony Walkmans and music cassettes to the latest magazines. Wian Kao is aware that his people need more than the foreigners' glossy magazines if they are to prepare themselves for renewed contact with the outside world.
In the moment, we have not enough textbook for every skills of knowledge. So we must to learn many foreign languages for develop our knowledge on the science and many skills.
Even in Ban Zhang Hai, there are signs that the modern world is not far away. There's a new bridge that links the village with roads to the provincial capital and the district centre. Soon, villagers will not have to endure the difficulties and dangers of a river trip to visit Luang Prabang or Ban Son Sanu. The people of Ban Zang Hai do not yet own motor vehicles, but already the bridge allows the easy removal of timber from the district, and a steady stream of Lao sightseers has been able to visit the dig in the village of the Jars. After 7 weeks, the dig has come to a halt because of a death in the village. No one may work until the appropriate rituals have been observed. The largest and most elaborate ceremony for a Lao is his final one. More so than any other ceremony in the life cycle, funerals are marked by the participation of Buddhist monks or bonzes. They chant the ancient litanies to reassure the living that death is simply the necessary step before rebirth into a better life. The body is prepared and placed in the coffin for viewing by a constant stream of guests who come to pay their respects and share the food and drink offered as part of the ceremony. Normally, in Buddhist societies, the body is cremated, though poorer families may make do with a simple burial outside the village boundary. In rural areas, these rituals may still involve observances of the cult of Pi, a spirit worship that predates the arrival of Buddhism. After disposal of the body, celebrations continue for at least another day to mark the soul's journey through the cycle of death and rebirth. At the suggestion of locals, Don and Peter explore the riverbank below the village. There, they find some prehistoric pottery fragments, indicating that the Ban Zang Hai area has been settled for much longer than anyone previously suspected.
I can put this here fairly safely. That has, now, I'm going to point to that kiln. It's a part of the wall here. The kiln. Pretty exciting place just here. This is where we found most of the prehistoric stone axes and what appears to be prehistoric earthenware pottery, along with the later period of stoneware from kilns like this one. So it's pretty interesting. We've got about, I think, about 4 or 5 stone axes from here and other artefacts. And of course the locals have found a lot more as well.
Because เอาไปขึ้นคิดนี่ว่ามานั่งคิดเบิ่งว่าอ๋อบนนี้แม่นบนเข้าผลิตบนเข้าเฮ็ดข้าพเจ้ามาคิดว่าละแม่นต้องแม่นเขาเฮ็ดอยู่นี่
Really great.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's fresh too. It doesn't, you know, those breaks are
Any
fresh.
มาจากไหน
ตายปากห้วยบึงเหนือ
ห้วยเดือคนน่ะ
ปากห้วยบ่อน
He found it in the near the water.
That's a break of some time ago. You see, look, that's been broken some time. Oh, that's marvellous. 'Cause that's a fine piece of. I'll get my.
The team's work has caused the locals to view ancient relics in a fresh light. Word of activity at the site has spread as far as the Vietnam border, to some traders who bring a collection of burial jars and human bones to the foreigners. There is consternation in the village.
Inadvertently, we have upset a belief, a custom that our own professional Lao staff, the professional Lao staff associated with the project, were not aware of, so couldn't warn us about. And indeed, many of the villagers have told us since the events that they didn't know this rule, this custom. They didn't know it. It was only some of the senior people who came forward with the point of concern, and so it caught us unawares.
เพราะว่าฮีทบ้านนั่นก็ยังละบ่ได้เลยฮีทบ้านนั่นคือว่าคนปิดบ้านปิดเมืองอันนี้เขาถือมาแต่พ่อแต่แม่ดึกดำบรรพ์ไปซั่นซะอันเรื่องว่าฮีทบ้านของเมืองนั้นเฮามันต้องได้นับถือ
The archaeologists haven't understood that older members of the village believe human bones contain spirits. These may linger and cause mischief, so without consulting Don or Wian Gao, the villagers hide the bones at a safe distance. To resolve the ensuing conflict of authority, Don Hein calls a meeting with village elders.
We have to decide whether we are in charge here, all of us, with Mr. Vong Mani and myself as site directors, are we in charge of the material or are we not? That is the basic professional problem. If we are not in charge, we must leave. We have no business here.
What's resolved is that those things will be kept outside the village, and when we go we can take them. They're not allowed to come into the village, which is quite reasonable. We ask the village to forgive the lands who brought those things and not take any stern action against them. Certainly there was concern that the work should not stop and should be completed, and that everything proceed as it has in the past on very good terms. There's a greater understanding on the part of the elders and the village in general that research of this kind has a lot of benefits, but also has the need to follow procedures that may counter or run across traditional ones, and those things have to be resolved. And I think that's much better understood now, and we can proceed. Everybody's very anxious that we proceed, so that's what we're doing. We're getting back to work.
No, not here. Just leave that from... Okay, good.
The archaeologists' work is beginning to pay off. They found what they were hoping for, the kiln roof.
Okay, this one first.
Underneath it, they expect to find jars, trapped there when the roof collapsed hundreds of years ago, after the kiln ceased operating. Now, the most exciting discoveries are likely to be made. Removal of the roof must be carried out with the utmost care, so as not to damage any artefacts which lie beneath. The walls of the kiln and any pottery found inside will be dated to determine when ceramics were last made and fired at Banzang Hai.
Just break.
Goodness.
Dr. Mike Barbetti, a dating specialist from the University of Sydney, has worked with Don and Wian Gao on previous digs in Laos. Now he also joins the excavation team at Banzang Hai.
And the other big surprise here is it's also prehistoric. We have a large number of stone axes, pendants, amulets, a few copper tools, and so on. So that's a bonus in the sense that it suggests quite a term of occupation. But
but also that you know it's good news for somebody. The prehistorians will be delighted.
Well, primarily we're trying to determine as precisely as possible the age when the kilns were used, and also whether there's a time difference between the kilns. We can try doing a number of radiocarbon dates. We can try using other dating techniques to try and make the dating a little more precise. One of the ones we use is paleomagnetism, which is the magnetism that's fixed in the iron oxide particles in the walls of the kiln. And that magnetism is set at the time the kiln is last heated and cools down. And it's like a fossil compass, so we can come along, take cores, measure what the direction of the Earth's magnetic field was at that time in the past. Whether there's a difference in the magnetic direction between the top and the bottom kilns is one of the first things we'll look for, to see whether there's a difference in age showing up in the paleomagnetism, which may show up in the magnetic direction, but the radiocarbon dating may simply say, well, they're all sort of, say, 15th century, give or take a century or two. Radiocarbon dating won't give you that difference of 30 or 50 years that you may be able to determine or to see in the direction of the magnetic field.
People have a notion of Raiders of the Lost Ark, that kind of archaeology, but it's really not like that. A lot of it is pretty tedious stuff, checking over material, writing records and so on. But this is the sharp edge of archaeology. This is where a lot of the action does lie, and probably this form of archaeology is closest to that image of what archaeologists do.
Now that the villagers have become accustomed to the presence of the archaeological team, they have begun to consider its members as part of village life. Today, the team has been invited to a wedding, one of the most festive occasions in the life of an ordinary Lao. Weddings here begin with a procession from the groom's house to that of the bride. Along the way, the groom must endure the ridicule of his friends and their bawdy stories about married life. The Lao are comparatively free to choose their partners, though the groom's family must negotiate a satisfactory bride price before the priest can set an auspicious date for the proceedings. Still, on the great day itself, the groom must go through the ritual of fighting his way into the bride's house and paying a bribe before being allowed upstairs to join his future wife. After the wedding ceremony, the Lau Lau flows at celebrations which last all night. Tourism is developing into an important source of revenue for Laos. Situated on a tourist route from Luang Prabang to the cave temples at Paku, Ban Zang Hai is used to visitors stopping to sample the Lao Lao. But news of the dig has brought more strangers than usual. The village's notoriety as a producer of rice liquor may change with the unearthing of its cultural history. Ban Zang Hai's residents hope that the archaeological site will be preserved and that international interest in the dig will draw attention to their villages and their country's contribution to Southeast Asian culture.
I didn't expect to see archaeological searchings. I don't know the English word, and I'm very interested in this kind of science. And I didn't expect that this I would see in Laos. I'm very surprised.
I didn't expect this in the middle of nowhere, to be honest. It's really very interesting.
I think it's in the interest of history in general and also of the history of Laos. Because of Laos, perhaps most people don't know except they heard during the war. When you find, if you show this in Australia, perhaps people realize that 600 years ago, 400 years ago, people here were more advanced than people in Sydney or in Melbourne at that time.
I'm the regional manager for Lacoste, the crocodile emblem, and I'm based in Bangkok, and we are on a trip to
If you
Laos.
want to see the fake Lacoste, you can see it here.
But he's my friend. He's my friend.
Okay? This is the real one. This is the fake one. Now you got it.
Very similar.
Yes, it is. Yes, it's like a python. Yes, that's right. They support. Yes.
We've had people coming in looking at the excavations here asking if material is for sale. The only real defence that one has against that is to convince people that their long-term interest is better served by conservation and preservation. That, for example, if they find a beautiful pot, they can sell it, they've got the money once. If it stays on site in a museum here, it's a tourist draw card, and the tourists will keep coming year after year, probably for generations. And so there'll be money, if you like, money is coming many times over by keeping the pot here.
After 3 months' work at the site, the floor of the kiln is finally reached and the dig nears completion. It is here that the team unearths the last jars ever to be fired in this kiln. They are of a variety and quality which exceed the archaeologists' expectations. Don Hine, Wien Gao and the others are more than happy with their discoveries.
Oh, it is a very fine one. Oh, we need to make the fine dust to see. That would account for the very fine lines. It is. It is. Yes, a very, very fine tree.
I don't think it's sensible or wise for us to not understand Asian history. Not only the Asians themselves want to know about their own history, which in some cases is well recorded, and in other cases very badly or very poorly recorded, but we should also be aware of Asian history. And our place here as foreigners doing this work is I guess, satisfying that responsibility to some degree. And the result of the work is that there will be a clearer definition of Lao history, at least in regard to ceramics in the first place. But that's an important one because it reflects not only an industry on technology, but also on aesthetics.
I and also everybody from the staff feels sad about the set down the shelter because about 2 months we spend under it.
With the dig completed, the excavated site is backfilled with sand to protect it for future reference.
Khứtว่าบ่อยากถมแต่ว่าอยากไปเลี้ยงท่องเที่ยวอยู่ในบ้านสังไห้บัดนี้เพิ่นว่าอยากให้ถมอันนี้ทิศมีแนวคิดของทิศมีเนี่ยบ่อยากให้ถมเพราะอยากอันมีเงินว่านึงมันล้อมหัวไว้เป็นอนุสาวรีย์แล้วให้แขกที่มาชม
ก็มีจุดดีหลายอันที่ว่าเฮ็ดให้พวกเฮาอันเป็นตาอันที่ว่าสนใจแล้วก็บ่ได้ที่บ่ทันเข้าใจพวกเฮาก็ได้ถามก็เป็นส่วนดีแล้วก็อันใดที่ว่าดีพวกเขาก็ได้เก็บได้เมียนไว้รักษาไว้ที่ว่าบ่ให้ตกเหี่ยเสียหายเพราะมันจะเสียของที่ว่าของส่วนรวม
Before dawn, Wei and Kao and their team depart. The villagers and local officials hold a baisi, a ceremony in which thanks are offered and the visitors blessed.
We want to say thank you for the friendship that has been given to us, the willingness to help us and to look after us while we've been here.
The team has proved that Banzang Hai has lived up to its name and was indeed an important village for jar making. Villagers can now take new pride in their past. Perhaps they have also found new hope for the future.
I think with a certain amount of pride, our work has caused a revision, certainly some reassessment of the origins of ceramics, high-temperature ceramics in Southeast Asia. Will be associated, perhaps, with that change. But our work certainly does contribute to that change. All research, if it's successful, results in some kind of change.